a part of MTYP's Spark program, and today I will be interviewing Darren Woods. Darren, would you like to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I am currently the artistic director of Seagull Festival, formerly the Seagull Music Colony, which is the oldest and one of the most prestigious summer training programs for opera singers and music theater singers. This is our 107th season. I've been here for 27 of those 107 seasons, but I also started here as a singer. I sang for 18 years and I ran opera companies for 18 years. And then when I turned 60, I moved up here full time to just concentrate on Seagull. So I've been on the stage and I've been behind the producing table almost the same amount of time.
Oh, that is amazing. Well, if you're ready, I'm ready. We can start off with our questions.
Absolutely.
So my first question for you is, what is your definition of an artistic director or producer?
Well, in commercial theater, like music theater, they're often two different people. The producers are the people who are raising all the money. They turn them over to the casting director, the artistic team, and they sort of put together the cast and the costumes and everything. In opera, it's traditionally the producer is also most all the time the artistic director. So not at Seagull, because we have a general director who's technically the boss and our producer, but I'm responsible for all the artistic product that's on the stage. We have a team of about four full-time people that we all sort of talk about what we want to do. But I also it's weird here because I'm the development director and the artistic director. So that means I raise all the money and I'm also responsible for the artistic product. So an artistic director, I pick the singers, and Tony and I do it as a team. Tony's our general director. So we pick the singers, we pick the pianists, we pick the vocal coaches, we pick the designers and directors that are going to be here. So as an artistic director, I don't direct any shows. I just sort of put all the balls in motion, and we hire all those people that I think are going to go well with the artists. This person's going to direct this show well. We like this designer, we like this costume designer. So it's a matter of looking at a production and saying, I think that this is going to be the perfect team to realize that show and make the public really like it.
Oh, that is amazing. That is so cool that you get to do that every day.
It's a pretty wonderful job. And because at Seagull, we're really taking people from university that are either still in graduate school or just fresh out. So we're really kind of the first step on their journey, on their professional journey. So many of them are doing these roles for the first time. We always do, and this is, we can talk about this a little bit later, but we always do a new American piece, either that's probably written in the late 20th or 21st century. And so they're often doing roles that no one has ever done before. So there's no YouTube video for them to visit. This year, we're doing a world premiere called Harmony. The roles have never been done before, except in a workshop. So there's no one to watch. So they're actually creating this role. They'll be the first people that ever sing these roles this summer.
That is amazing.
It's very cool.
Oh my gosh, wow. Well, that was awesome. So let's get on with our next question. I'm going to say, so I've heard you do about like 5 shows a year. How many shows do you do per year?
This year it's crazy because of COVID, we're limited in how many people can gather. So we have 2 4-week seasons with 16 singers in this season and 16 singers in this session. So we didn't want to do the same thing. So we're doing 3 productions in the first session and a scenes program, and 3 different productions in the second session and a scenes program. So it's going to be really, really very busy and very crazy. In a normal year, we do 4 main stage productions, and they're usually big shows. We do 2 big book musicals. We do one opera that's usually traditional, and one opera, as I said, that's either brand new or very new. And the way I pick the repertoire is probably the only company in the company where every single decision we make is about the artist and what is good for the artist. So in the middle of a normal summer, I'll start thinking about the singers that we want to invite back or singers that want to come back the second year, because most singers do spend at least 2 summers here. And I'll go, okay, well, it'd be really great for this soprano to sing Suzanne in the Marriage Figaro, maybe. And so casts just sort of start coming together, because the second year people and third year people, they get the plum roles. And then as we sort of build that we get the 2 middle seasons, And we just sort of start building a season where we know that we can give every single singer that comes here. There's 32 singers that come every summer. They all get a role with some meat on it, that they can put it on their resume. No one just comes and sings chorus. So we don't really choose the repertoire for the audience. We don't choose the repertoire for box office, to make a lot of money at the box office. And that's why I love this job more than anything. My other jobs running opera companies as a producer, you're worried about the budget. You're worried about ticket sales. You're worried about, making that 35% in ticket sales. So you only have to raise 65. Here, our board and our donors are so great. They know that they're here to watch the journey of these 32 singers. And so they come to every show we do just because we're doing it. So I have a very unusual position in that I don't have to go, oh my goodness, we've got to do the Sound of Music because that's going to make a whole lot of money. Yeah. We have done the Sound of Music, but only when we had a young lady that could sing Maria and a Captain Von Trapp, and we're like, oh, maybe next summer we can do the Sound of Music. So that's how and then we do, in addition to our 4 big shows, we do a children's opera that's usually with 4 of the younger singers, and that tours to theaters all over the North Country in the summertime. We do a musical review, and we keep 4 singers that are out of college in the fall for about 8 weeks, and they tour to schools, but they also do a musical review. They do workshops of brand new operas, so really things that no one has ever done before, because they're like getting the music, and every day the composer's saying, why don't we change this, and I'm going to write this new page of music here, and they have to go learn it and come back to rehearsal and sing it. Yeah. So there's a lot that goes on, but again, it's all artist centric.
I love that. That is amazing. Another question for you. Do you help create the schedule for the summers and your show times and everything like that? And what would be one of your biggest difficulties with that as well?
The hard thing is when everybody gets here, we start rehearsing all 4 big shows. Well, all 5 with the children's opera. We'll rehearse everything at the same time. So we have 2 weeks that is at the beginning of this season where we've got a morning chunk. They all have class at 9. Then there's a 10 to 1 chunk of rehearsal time, a 2 to 5 chunk of rehearsal time, and a 7:30 to 10:30 chunk of rehearsal time. The first show opens 3 weeks after they arrive. So music rehearsal started. So we have a company manager, Sarah, who it's like a giant jigsaw puzzle. We have a master schedule that Richard Kagi, our director of production, and I have put together to sort of know where all the balls are supposed to go. But then it's Sarah's job to go, okay, and because if you're coming to Seagull, Maddie, you might have a big role in the first show, you might be in the chorus of the 3rd show, and you might have a minor role in the last show. So if Sarah's got to say, okay, we're going to call you to rehearse this duet with the pianist from 10 to 10:45. Okay, we've got to move you over here to this rehearsal from 11 to 1 because you're going to be staging so it's a giant jigsaw puzzle that not only includes 32 singers, but also 3 voice teachers, 5 pianists, 3 directors. So it's every day, every night, about 6 o'clock after dinner when the evening rehearsal's going on, Sarah sits down with her jigsaw puzzle, and the directors come in and say, I'd like to do scene 1, scene 2, want this, I want that. The show that's coming up first gets first dibs. So sometimes it's like, I'm going to need everybody tomorrow night. So that makes the schedule a little easier, but it's a giant jigsaw puzzle that every day we and it's also good because we want to keep the singers busy. So we don't want to give someone, 6 hours a day off because they're here to work and learn. So if you're not called to a scene, sometimes we'll put you in a coaching for something but that's the biggest challenge, is moving people around and still getting them to breakfast, lunch, and dinner and class. And of course we have donor events and we've got a gala. So all those things just go into this giant piece of paper because we have to look at it on the wall. It can't be done just on the computer. We have to see all the moving parts.
Yes. Well, that's amazing though, spreading the love and being able to let all those actors be able to do everything they want to over the summer. That's awesome. Another question for you would be, as an artistic director, what is most difficult for you finding and putting all the pieces together? Like you said, I know you already said that, but something like casting or whatever you want, anything else?
The most difficult thing for a producer or an artistic director or both of those heads is you have say 3 directors, stage directors, who are going to direct that show. and all that they're about is that show because that's theirs, right? So we have one director for this, and so they have a budget. And so the hardest thing to do is when the director, and we try to say yes as much as we can, but sometimes we have to go, we can't do that because, and it never is a really, we try not to mess with the artistic product. We want, when we select the director and the music director, they come to us with their vision and we buy that and we look at the designs they're going to have and we sort of build a budget around that. But, you know, if someone says, oh, all of a sudden I need a chaise lounge that needs to be covered in red velvet, you know, we're going to have to make do with this chaise lounge because we can't afford that. And we live very much within our budget. We don't have deficits. We try not to do that. Even when I ran my other opera companies, no deficits. So, you know, telling a creative person that might not be possible, or to try to figure out another way to do that you might get the same result and tell that story the same way without spending a lot of extra money.
Yes.
Another hard thing is, for me, is we now have 800 applicants for 32 spots. So within that, there are probably another 60 more that are just really spectacular artists that don't get to come. And so deciding which of those people in the casting, which of those singers are going to fit with the entire group. Because nobody's, as I said, nobody's a star here. You get to star in one show, you're in the chorus in the other. So everybody has to be like that. So we often in our auditions interview our singers. So we're talking to them, so we get to know them a little bit. But looking at, like, you know, 30 singers, sopranos, and knowing you can only have 8, and you're like, oh, but that 9th one is so good, and I want her to have that opportunity too. And, you know, also being, you know, wanting to be really cognizant of diversity in our singers and things like that. So there's all sorts of things that go into casting other than just, can you sing the role?
Yes, for sure.
Those are the 2 biggest challenges.
On the opposite note, what is one of your favorite parts of being an artistic director, especially at?
Oh man, up here, watching them go from day 1 to the end of the season and the growth that happens. I mean, they improve and grow more in 9 weeks than you do at 2 years at the university. I mean, it's remarkable. They learn new repertoire. They develop new skills. And what we say to them, I think that I know is unique, is we like say, the only failure is failure to try. So this is where you take risks. This is where you try to sing that note that you haven't been able to sing.
Yes.
And if you don't get it the first time, we're going to pick you up and we're going to hug you and we're going to help you do it again. And just the bravery and the courage that they develop, and that they can do it. And another thing about the group, the faculty here, is that nobody's ego is in the way. If one teacher's working with the singer and says, you know what, our other teacher is fluent in French, and I bet you if you went and asked Byron to work with you on that, he'd really do that. And we all get together at the end of every couple of days and go, okay, where are the singers? What do we need to do? How can we keep moving them along? So the greatest joy is watching a singer, an artist that couldn't do something, day 1, just own it by the end of the summer and just grow, but not only grow, but really own it and know that they did it and know that they have that skill.
Oh, that'd be amazing to watch someone grow like that. That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Yes. And my final question for you is, do you have any advice for someone who wants to go into artistic directing or producing?
Yeah. Learn as much as you can about the art that you're doing, whether it's opera, music, theater, but also be super curious, go to museums, read, travel, have a life outside your musical life. Be humble. I always say that we facilitate putting on great art, but the way we can do it is because of our artists. So our artists are here to give their gifts to their community. So we're here to support our artists in every way that they can, so that they can give those gifts to the community. So curiosity, humility. I mean, when I knew I was going to transition from a singer to a general director, producer, artistic director, I knew a long time when I was a singer that I wanted to do that ultimately. So I became a keen observer of every company that I worked with that did it really well. Who did donor stewardship well? Who did budgets well? Who did marketing well? Who, when I look at their brochure, I want to go see that show because it's so beautifully done. listening to voices and going, okay, developing your artistic taste. What do you like? How do you, I mean, my superpower, I always say, is I can hear someone in New York City and 3 weeks later hear someone in LA, and those two voices are going to blend just like the most beautiful thing in the world. So be curious, do things other than your singing, and be humble.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. My last thing would be, do you have any upcoming shows you'd like to plug, or any social media you'd like to put down as well?
Yeah, so you can look up Seagle Festival on, and that's SEAGLE, not like the bird, but like SEAGLE Festival. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We have, as I said, 2 sessions. We've got lots of program. You can find out about it on the website, which is seaglefestival.org. And I'm excited about the whole thing, but really doing a world premiere. Our world premiere is in the second session. It's Harmony by Robert Carl and the famous novelist Russell Banks, who is doing his first opera libretto. And so it's very cool. And again, bringing something to life that wasn't there before. And the singers get to do that. So you can find all that information. And we're all virtual this year, and tickets are cheap. So buy a ticket and watch something that we're doing this summer.
Yes, go buy tickets, everyone. Thank you
Yes,
so much
please.
Darren, for joining us, and goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.